Hey, so I just literally finished Lovecraft Country, episode 6, Mimi and Daegu, and it was interesting. It was very interesting. Um, some of you may know, I have a lot of experience with China and somewhat Japan, but I don't have a lot of experience with South Korea or the Koreas or Korea. So this was interesting. It gave me interestingly um what was that show called with Regina King? That comic book, I can't remember the name of it, with the very, very attractive Yaya. What is his name? Yaya something. Gorgeous, gorgeous brother. But yeah, it gave me those vibes with the whole cinema aspects of it in the movies and being in Asia, with the whole Vietnam aspect. I was like, I wonder if they were using a lot of the same sets to save money or something like that. But I can't remember the name of the show. I have to Google it or something to figure it out. Somebody in the comments let me know. But this was a good episode. The Kumino is a very, very famous like Asian spirit, if that makes sense. And she basically just, devours heterosexual men. And one of my favorite Chinese movies. And this is I learned quite a bit of Chinese from this movie or these two movies. But Painted Skin 1 and Painted Skin 2 with Joe Shreen and I can't remember the other lady's name. But I was obsessed with those movies. But I also really, 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 really like mythology. Greek mythology, Chinese mythology. It really doesn't matter to me. I like mythology and magic and sci-fi and all that. So the story of the Kumino is really fucking interesting. Um, but yeah, but I see why some people like. I was watching Justin J earlier, and he was saying that he can't really get into Lovecraft Country because he says it's kind of, what did he say? He said it's just not written well, and I can kind of see what they mean by that. I mean, it is a lot of moving pieces, but I'm one of those critics. I don't judge it until I finish it. I mean, if I don't get into it, I just don't get into it. But I don't think it means it was a bad film. I just think I didn't like it. Or I'm not into it. But I see what he means though, as far as the writing. It's not a conventional show at all. But I like the stories that they tell, and I'm a person I like stories, so maybe that's why I like movies and TV shows and all of that so much. But yeah, this was a good episode. But in Painted Skin, I can't remember Painted Skin 1, but Painted Skin 2, I think it was the same premise. Basically, um, this spirit, in Painted Skin, the spirit needs to consume the hearts of men who are specifically in love with her. Which this may be a, what is it called? That may be a euphemism. That's the word I'm looking for. That may be a euphemism, for TV screens at the time when the movie came out. Because the Kumino in Lovecraft Country, can basically attack once the man is, sexually in participation, I guess, whatever, which is interesting. Whereas in Huapi or Painted Skin, the the Kumino has to get the man to fall in love with her genuinely, and then when she consumes his heart, it keeps her young, and she's able to maintain an attractive skin so that she can then consume or attract and consume the next man. Um, I like the way these spirits and these stories like just continue to go, throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? Like the Kumino, I feel like this is the vibe I get from the Kumino as a spirit. The Kumino is quite women's rights oriented, I guess. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, like like the man eaters, that whole stereotype with like radical feminists and whatnot. The Kumino is literally the man eater. You know what I mean? So I guess the bad part of the Kumino though is like, well, in Huapi, the Kumino doesn't really care if the Kumino wants to be human, but the Kumino also wants to, I guess, continue living, if that makes sense. And so that's why she continues to consume these human hearts and kill these men and blah 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 blah. But I know in Huapi, the Kumino, and there was also this link in Lovecraft country in this episode, and the Kumino in the Chinese tradition, well, in Huapi, I can't really say the Chinese tradition, but in the Chinese tradition, the Kumino needs to, have a man that's actually attractive versus in this one, just needs to be having sex. But I had another point, and I just lost it. Let me see if I can get it back. I found another difference between the Chinese Kumino and the Korean Kumino in Lovecraft country. What was it? Oh, in both stories. So this must be a parallel between them. Y'all, I got crumbs on me. I was eating chips. That's a mess, right? I know. I'm sorry. I'll dust the bed before I go to bed. But in both stories, though, the Kumino wants to be human, and I like the way the Asians differentiate, like, or I guess not differentiate, but how they portray a spirit as wanting to be human. But in a lot of the East Asian traditions, that's the thing. The human world is kind of like the preference, like the world of the living. And so the spirit world, spirits are, they have either lived before or they're trying to get to the human reincarnation, right? Because the human reincarnation, I mean, in Buddhism, is also closer to nirvana, right? So, yeah, so anyway, the Kumino wants to be human. Like, that's the desire for the Kumino to be human. I remember in Huapi, it's a famous line. I can't remember if it's Huapi 1, and that's Painted Skin. I'm just saying it in Chinese, Huapi. Painted Skin 1, I can't remember if it was in Painted Skin 1 or Painted Skin 2, but in one of them, the main character who is playing the Kumino basically says, oh, I want to feel like the rain on my face, and I want to feel, I want to be able to smell the flowers, blah, 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 blah. Because all of those things come with the human experience, which is mind blowing if you are into, like, I guess, the whole esoteric thing, and you hear that, spirits want to be human, and this world is different from that world, blah, blah, blah. So I guess spirits who have the ability it's interesting that spirits who have the ability to some kind of way present as human, whether that be to create a skin or whatever, it's interesting that they're devoid of all feeling, and that was a constant in both the Chinese tradition of the Kumino as well as the Korean tradition of the Kumino, where the Kumino has no feeling. Like, technically, the Kumino is just walking around in a shell. They can't feel any emotions. They can't. I don't think they have sense of taste, touch. Feel, all that kind of stuff. But they can see. So, really, really interesting. This was a good episode, and it made sense because I always wonder what the main character, I can't remember his name, but I always wondered who he was on the phone with. I thought he was on the phone with, the blonde hair, blue eyed white lady. But apparently he was on the phone with the Kumino. So yeah, but this was intense. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to come on here real quick. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get viewers and also subscribers. And I'm trying to update more. So yeah, peace.